Welcome, everybody, to the TC Title Guy Podcast, episode 1 of the series of many podcasts in the future, highlighting myself today. Here we are in the Talent Group Title and Escrow Agency Closing Room B Studios. Haha, that's supposed to be funny. Long story short, for 2 years, I've been pondering podcasts, and I've been on one myself. I've been interviewed by Rose Odette, the Michigan Innovation Podcast down in Cadillac, talking about title insurance and a little bit about my background. And a bunch of people said, hey, you should do a podcast highlighting people in the industry and talking about, title insurance and the real estate industry locally in Northwest Michigan. And then, also about myself and what I like to do as an individual, and my hobbies, and then also interviewing people and then taking it off into conversations about themselves. And then obviously the main focus of the podcast being real estate, and the real estate industry. Sorry about the camera jumbling. Maybe in the future it's going to be a little bit of issues today, obviously, because it's my first podcast and we're going to have lots of issues going forward today because this is my first episode, literally. I know what I want to talk about. We're going to dive into that here in a second. But so bear with me when it comes to filler words such as likes and ums and uhs. But the content piece, I know what I want to say. I know how to talk about myself. So that's going to be really easy. I went on Amazon the other day and I bought a product. And unfortunately, there's no local businesses that have this product. They don't have a starter combination podcast kit, and it was pretty well inexpensive. So if you're looking to dive into podcasts in the future, let me know and I can get you and point you in the right direction when it comes to that kind of gear. I got a little mixing board here, and it hooks everything together. I can record on my phone. I've got microphones, and I've got the ability to do echoes and cool things like that. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Anyway, so you get the idea, right? So I'm not going to talk about all the crazy things that this will do, even though, thank you, I appreciate that, thank you. I'm not going to talk about all the crazy things that this mixer board will do, but it's pretty basic. You've got, your treble, you got your bass, you got your echo, microphone volume and record volume and all that things of nature. And then, of course, I got some headphones, microphones. This comes with 2 mics with the C-clamp arm here that I can hook right up to the table. And I got my notes right in front of me. Got my computer right here. So, yeah, for like under $100, I got everything. And I'm recording a podcast. And I'm kind of like all over the place. I'm usually all over the place as an individual. I'm going to beat up on myself a little bit today. But I just want to let you know that this is the first podcast, and going forward, please excuse me if there's any mistakes. Like I said, I'm kind of getting off topic here and a little bit all over the place. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about me. We're going to talk about where I grew up, moving forward to the northern Michigan area, and how I kind of dove into the title insurance world, and I found my home. I would say this is my career job moving forward. I mean, granted, I've only been doing this for 2.5 years. This will be going into my 3rd year in the industry, but regardless, I feel like this is my home. I love this industry. I love this job. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'll tell you what. I'm definitely adding a new approach to the industry when it comes to real estate and from a title insurance title company standpoint. So where do I want to start? I think I probably was mentioning some things earlier that I forgot to finish my sentences, and like I said, I'm all over the place. I apologize. But that's just who I am as an individual. I kind of get all over the place, and I'm just going to kind of ramble on and just go with it today, and maybe you'll find it entertaining. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you. I appreciate it. TC Title Guy Podcast. Like I said, I'm all over the place, but let's talk. About my past and my history. So I grew up downstate in Linden, Michigan, in Fenton area. Grew up in Fenton for a little bit, and then I started going to Linden High School, Linden schools in general, I guess, in elementary first, and then graduated from Linden High School in 2010. Grew up on a lake called Lobdell Lake in Linden. Loved it. living down there. I loved being able to grow up in a lake. I used to take out the pontoon boat in the middle of the night and go out in the water and try to catch bass with some friends and play hooky from school. Anyway, long story short. So after high school, I dove into wanting to go to Eastern Michigan University. I guess back up a little bit. My last 2 years of high school, I took some electronic media, film, video courses, radio, things of that nature. And that's kind of what I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life back in when I was, 18, almost nearly like basically an adolescent. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do at all with my life. And so I dove into, I went to Mott first. Mott Community College is in Flint, Michigan. Went to Eastern Michigan University for the last few years of my college career. And like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I started taking some basic courses, and I took some media classes, and I guess that's where I ended up pursuing my career, and it was kind of too late. I wanted to figure out that I wanted to get a minor in marketing at the end of my college career, but I said, anywhere hire somebody with a piece of paper unless you're like a doctorate, I guess. Unless you have like a specific, degree for college, I don't think really anybody would not hire me going into sales. Well, I was wrong. I guess, having a business degree might have made a difference once I decided to pursue a career in sales. But anyways, before that, I took an internship, and I needed to get one more credit hour for an internship at a radio station, because that's what was in my degree. I needed to have an internship in the field of electronic media and film, which is broadcasting and video and things of that nature. So I went up to Beaver Island. That's my main connection to northern Michigan. I'm third generation. My family's been going up there. I've been going up there my whole life, but my family's been going up there for 70 plus years. The original Eicher properties on the east side of the island, which my uncle currently owns, and my dad's got a couple parcels up there. Mike Eicher. Long story short, we'll go up there our whole lives and hunt and fish and hang out and go to the beaches and hang around the island and things of that nature. And then I decided, what a perfect place and opportunity to live and do an internship at a local radio station called WVBI, the voice of Beaver Island at the time. And I worked at a local bar restaurant, and I bartended up there and waited tables. So that's what I did. I did that for the summer, and man, that was a great time. I learned a lot of cool things about radio, and that's what I thought I wanted to pursue. As I got done with my internship in August, that started, I think, roughly in May, June, somewhere in there, and then I decided to move down to Traverse City. I interviewed a guy named Steve Normandin, Omelet, with KLT, as most of you would recognize him, here locally in the Traverse City area. And he got me a job there because he came up to the Beaver Island Music Festival. I interviewed him, and he's like, "Hey, man, would you want to move down to Traverse City? You seem like a go-getter." And so I moved down here. Actually, I was an employed individual. I used to drive the promotions truck around, and this big box radio. You guys probably recognize that locally in Traverse City. And then I dove into the morning show with Omelet, and was Rick Coates back then, and we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I did that for about a year while also working at North Peak Brewing Company here in Traverse City. And yeah, I really enjoyed that, but it just wasn't for me. The hoops you have to go through to become a top DJ in radio is really tough, and you got to move across the country. And at the time, I started dating a girl locally in Traverse City, and she is now my current wife. And so I decided to, maybe try a different avenue. And I always, like I said, in college, in my last few years, I took some business classes in the business school down there in Eastern Michigan. And so I decided to dive into sales here locally. Granted, like I said before, I figured anybody with any kind of degree would hire somebody, especially for sales. Well, I was wrong. Nobody would hire me. So it's not like today. Now you can almost get a job a lot easier than it was back in 2016. That wasn't that long ago, which is crazy. But the market for the jobs was a lot harder back then. Even to get a bar job, restaurant bar job here locally was tough. North Peak, had an opening obviously, and that was only because it was the summertime. Now you can go into any bar or restaurant locally, and sometimes they aren't even open because there aren't enough employees. So that's kind of crazy how that transitioned over the last couple of years. Anyways, long story short, I'm filling out applications across Traverse City, looking for sales jobs. I don't remember insurance, um, different places. I can't remember back. That was back in 2016, 2017, and I guess 2017 because I worked at KLT for a year, and then I found a job on Indeed with Schwann's Home Food Service. They're no longer local to Traverse City, but I got a job there. I was working long hours. I didn't have kids, wasn't married yet. I was working, dang, started at 9:30 in the morning, sometimes till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And so I was busting my butt, and I wasn't obviously, doing as well financially then as I am now, but it was a good starting job for me to learn how to introduce myself to people because this business is all about relationships. One, can you connect with the other person? Two, um, do you do what you say you're gonna do? And that's why one of my slogans is we get stuff done here at the Tailing Group Title and Escrow, and we'll dive into that in a little bit. But yeah, so I really was a people person, and I always have been since I was little. My grandma always told me that, like, she's like, Alex, why don't you go play outside or whatever, do this or that. Like, why you always want to hang out with me and my friends here and play euchre, and they're in their 60s, 70s at the time. I was like, I don't know, I just like hanging out with you guys. So my point is I've always been a people person, been able to connect with a lot of people. It's hard for me not to strike up a good conversation with somebody. It really is to with anybody I meet. And so moving forward, I worked at Schwann's Home Food Service, and I started out with the Cadillac Wexford County route, then moved my way up to the depot loan officer, the depot, excuse me, tying real estate in there. Haha, very funny. So the depot trainer, I got promotion, and then eventually got the best route in Traverse City. So I guess the top route in the entire depot. So eventually, after 2 or so years, I decided to upgrade myself and move positions. And so I started at Gordon's Food Service. That was a great company, Christian-based culture, which I am a Christian. God bless everyone, and Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. And so, long story, then COVID hit. It was 2020-ish, and I was there for just about a year, and I was on my way to UP, driving up on 31 North, and I was actually running a little bit late that day. I was supposed to stay up there for a week, and I guess backtrack a little bit. I had just gotten married to my wife, Katie Eicher. We met on Tinder. Long story short, funny story. Thank you. So after that, the following spring, we had gotten married in June. COVID hit. I was listening to the radio, and Gretchen Whitmer shut the state down. And so I was running a little bit behind. I was supposed to be in the UP already. I was supposed to be over there for a week. But I was like, what do I do now? So I called my boss at the time. I'm like, hey, what do I do? Like, I don't know. Come home. So luckily I hadn't made it across Mackinac Bridge. So I come back to Traverse City, and I'm sitting there at my desk. I'm like, what do I do now? He's like, I don't know. I really don't. That was a crazy time. A few weeks later, unfortunately, due to me being one of the new people, I got let go. And that was really tough. I was unemployed for, I don't know, like April till September-ish. Yeah, that was my longest stretch of unemployment for a while. And that was due to, the crazy times we were going through, masks and people having to stay inside. Anyway, long story short, I got a job working for Coca-Cola, and I was a sales rep. I focused on Traverse City, Gaylord, Antrim County kind of area, and north up to Central Lake. And I sold food and beverage to grocery stores and gas stations and some convenience stores. And same things, same repetitive story. Being a people person, always do what you're going to say you're going to do. Learning your products, believe in your products, because if you don't believe in your products, you can't sell them. And believe in your brand, obviously. And learn how to overcome objectives. Learn your competitors and what you do differently from them and how you can sell against them. What are your value add propositions? Anyways, fast forward to now. So, well, I guess when I first found Talon, And granted, Coca-Cola wasn't, I don't think, there was a subsidiary of the national brand, but I don't think that they were family owned. But that was always very important to me because Schwann's Home Food Service was family owned, and so was uh, Gordon Food Service. And so that was always a big selling tool, or a big important factor for me working for an employer. So with that being said, Talon is family owned. Um, so it kind of opens the door to be able to do things differently. It's not a corporate culture, and so obviously I fit in right away. I had an interview in this room next door in the large closing room, and it was a great fit. And so, you know, one of the aspects of the interview where, I was grilling them with questions, they were grilling with me with questions. It was a long interview. I think it was at least like hour and a half, 2 hours, and everyone was a great fit, great culture here. And I asked God, and when I got the job after that, I said, hey, or I guess before that, before I got even met with Talon, and the attorney here, and Sabrina, and I can't even remember who else was in the closing room at the time, but I asked them, I said, hey, like, I'm looking for a job to be able to implement my value add proposition, and do things that I love to do for my hobbies and implement that into a business plan. Well, that's exactly what I got working for Talon. Um, and I struggled at first. I mean, it wasn't just about learning about what title insurance was. You know, it was also about trying to figure out what we do differently than everybody else. Well, the problem with that is title companies as a whole pretty much all do the same things, aside from some different products and services. So I really, really wanted to do something different and make an impactful difference in this industry. So what I did is I sought out a coach. I went on YouTube and I was listening to. I typed in how to sell title insurance. So this guy pops up, and I took his 3-month course. And shout out to Wade Vandermolen in Washington D.C. market. He's the D.C. title guy. I'm the T.C. title guy. Like I said, this is the T.C. Title Guy podcast. And so his whole gambit behind it is like a lot of title companies are viewed as, just close my deal, get that done, or they've got a affiliated business model, a joint venture approach, which is a captivating way to get business. But I wanted to do something different. Than I just want to be not viewed as, hey, will you ever hear from me if you send me a transaction? Not normally with most title companies. Well, in my case, I want to be out there in the community, connecting with people and helping them out, helping their clients out. So I took a 3-month course on how to sell this stuff, and it was all about value, right? Not only was it about learning how to talk with people, but also learning how to figuring out what their struggles and pain points are, and figuring out how to help them out. So, how do I do that, right? So, one, Talon has a large staff, and so as I've been drumming and bringing in business, which I've been bringing a good amount of business in, and this is not even where we want to be. I want to be the number one title company in Traverse City here. I have a 5-year goal, but we've been growing quite a bit, 35% each year since I've started. A lot of revenue, taking our company locally from number 8 in the company out of 26 offices. We're one of the largest independently owned title companies in the state, to number 2, and hopefully number 1 eventually. That's another goal of mine. And so, it's not only just me, it's about my staff too, right? So once we bring in more customers through value add, which we'll get into that, we employ more people. We handle the amount of business that comes to the door. We employ more people, whereas other title companies will not employ as much people that they need to have to be able to handle that amount of business they bring through the door. So one, there's our value add proposition. We get stuff done. Okay, speed, transparency, and communication. Okay. So realtors are different from builders, are different from lenders, right? So attorneys are another one that I pursue, and the general public for sale by owners. So I got like 5, I guess basically everybody, but 5 different types of people I break it down into: realtors, lenders, builders, attorneys, general public. So those are my types of people I want to go after. Anybody looking to buy, sell real estate, and I guess refinance too. And so any real estate transaction needs good title insurance. And we don't need to dive into all of what that is today. This is more about an intro about what I do and who I am. And so, so not only do we employ a good amount of staff, those are my types of people I want to pursue. Like, how do I add value? So a realtor is different than like a builder. So for a realtor, I specialize in, and I went to school for media, podcast, videography, video editing, of artificial intelligence. I learned new things, teach them to the general public. A lot of times most of my content that I teach gets certified. So gets certified through CE Marketplace. And then I teach that content out to people, and they get credit, and then they learn something new. Not every single class I teach is for everybody, or they don't always connect with every single little thing, but usually there's 1 or 2 or 3 things that somebody resonates with. So I'll tell you a story. I was teaching some content to a local brokerage, and one of my good friends, shout out to Gavin Caverly, check out Caverly Outdoors. He's got a YouTube channel out there. Like I said, he knows YouTube. I teach a YouTube class, how to start a professional YouTube channel. And he's on Zoom. He doesn't really care what I have to say until one thing I said resonated with him. Implement your hobbies, what you're good at, what you like to do, into a business plan. Talk about Kalkaska, about all the great bucks that's been shot in the area, and say, hey, guess what? There's XYZ amount of listings available right now, above 20 acres available in Kalkaska County right now. Come talk to me. I'm a real estate agent. Anyways, I said something like that, and he resonated with that. He reached out to me. Now we are best friends, and we do business. Okay, you catch my drift. All right. So I do that time and time again. I meet with people, figure out their pain points, come up and develop a business strategy and how I can help them out or teach them something new to keep front of mind with their clients or gain new ones. I shoot listing videos, and I teach people how to shoot listing videos. Those get thousands of plays, and it keeps front of mind with people, and then they have people that reach out to them and say they want to buy or sell real estate. I think video is a great way to stay front of mind with people. People ask me, I don't interview people, I meet with people, although I say to them, I'm interviewing you just as much as you're interviewing me, because I want to see if we're a good fit, right? And so I meet with people, and I say, hey, like, how are you staying front of mind with people? What are you doing? And they're like, oh, I do mailers, I make a phone call or touch points every so often, like every 3 months or whatever. And I say, that's great. Mailers, emails have a time and place, phone calls have a time and place. I get on the phone all the time. I have a follow-up list that I set accordingly, depending on the individual. But if you're shooting content and posting it, especially, it doesn't have to all be related to just market updates, let's say. It could also be related to funny stuff, right? Implementing fishing, right? Like I randomly was about to go on paternity leave. We just had twin boys, and I posted something about me catching a fish. I do that often, and I pull up the bass, and I randomly said, this wasn't even staged, I promise. I said, do business with Talent Title. That got a ton of plays, got a ton of views, right? And it's stupid. It's totally dumb, but like it's funny, and people relate to that because what it is, and I don't want to be another person that just is transactional in this industry. I'm out here to, one, help out your clients, save them money. There's products and services to do that. I'm developing a class on how to save money through title insurance. If you didn't know that, I'm going to teach you. I'm out here to help you, add value to you. I'm out here to, help out my company, help them grow, and I'm here to put food on my table. I really am. And I believe that the value add approach is the way to go in this industry. And I'm not for everybody, but I can tell you right now, a lot of people buy into what I have to say. Um, it is what it is. I've got a book of hundreds of clients, and I love my job. Granted, there's always a growth and a learning pattern, and as I've grown and developed and figure out new ways to help people, I bring in more deals, and I'm pretty good at what I do, and I'm not where I want to be though. I've got bigger goals. Um, so like I said, realtors are in that kind of what I do for them. Currently is customer service and value add through AI videography. I went into all that. Builders are completely different. We have a construction department here at Talon, and we're pretty good at, lien compliance, sworn statements, being the middleman and helping everybody out financially to make sure everybody gets paid accordingly. All the checks and balances are in place, and attorneys are different, and lenders are kind of in that realtor kind of construction, depending on, where they lean, whether it be purchase or building. Stuff, but I have a really good business strategy when it comes to relationships. Everybody kept telling me it's all about relationships locally, relationships. Well, how do I captivate that? Go out and meet people and get to know people that they know. That's how I do my business too. Not only do I connect with people on social media by shooting video content, posting stuff, I connect with people. Like I post a big fish. Everybody thought it was AI. Ha ha ha. Very funny. Whoops. Was not AI. I will tell you that. Big salmon I caught a couple weeks ago, and this realtor messaged me. Shout out to you. You know who you are, and we're getting together and we're going walleye fishing in a couple weeks. Not related to real estate at all. But I told her, I said, hey, look, I want to get to know you, and I want to see if I can help you out in the real estate industry. I'd love to show you a good time. It's not all about connecting with people over coffee all the time, although I do that. Right? Go to lunch, go to coffee, whatever. I connect with people on weird and strange ways, like implementing what I'm good at, hunting and fishing, take people pheasant hunting, whatever, and showing them a good time and talking business. That's what I'm good at. Maybe not. You're not necessarily good at that, but use your strengths. I know a realtor that owns a local paint and sip shop. Shout out to you. Go to utilize that. We've already talked about how to do that. Host local events at your local business, and talk about how you're a realtor. I mean, I'm kind of going off here, and I think I'm going to close soon. But I believe that a value add proposition and trying to figure out what people's pain points are and how we can help you out is a great way to do business, and I'm good at it. I'm not trying to be bragful or boastful or anything like that. You have to believe and you have to be hungry in this industry to be successful. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your brand. You have to be able to help people. You have to make connections with people, captivate those relationships, meet with somebody, figure out and help them out once they believe in you. They want to see you succeed. So I got a text earlier today from a new client. Me and him are getting close. We're buddies. Shout out to you. You know who you are. We go pheasant hunting together. And he's like, hey, man, I wanted to introduce you to a couple people on my team. I think they would really help you out. Or another realtor I met with last week, she goes, hey, I think you should really get to know XYZ. I think you could help her out. Or the other individual that we connected with in the past, we went walleye fishing together. We caught a lot of walleye, right? I connect with a lot of people at organizations and that I'm involved in different events. Shout out to Women's Council Realtors, Home Builders Association, Aspire North, Kiwanis. That's another one. I think I named them all. Anyway, I think that's going to conclude today's podcast. Thank you for listening. I hope you found it entertaining. We're going to dive into other things going here in the future. I'm not exactly sure. I know I always tell people to, what's the saying? Lead them into the next thing. Do a call to action for your next coming up episode. To be honest with you, I'm going to try to do one here every 2 weeks. As time allows, I'm going to try to interview guests. I'm going to interview realtors, lenders, people in the industry, maybe just my staff, talk about title a little bit, but it's not always going to be related to, the things of the real estate industry, although that will be try to tie that into every episode. I want you to get to know the people as well. I want you to get to know the people in this industry and what they have to say. Maybe it's related to their kids. Maybe it's related to, I don't know, curling. I know a guy out there. Shout out to you. You know who you are, Kevin Cleary. you know, anything you guys want to talk about. But we are going to talk about real estate. We're going to have a whole list of stuff to talk about here. And we're going to dive into those bullet points, and we're going to keep the show on track. But if it leads off into something of a story unrelated to real estate, or if it's related to real estate, whatever it is, that's what this podcast is for. We're here to talk about real estate, getting to know you guys, and how we can help you out too. Maybe we'll make some shows about that as well. But this was a great episode 1, and I'm sorry if it was a little jumbled and all over the place. My eyes are all over the place, but it's just kind of how I talk sometimes. But I really enjoyed this podcast, and I thank you. And look out for our episode 2 coming out here in the next couple weeks. I'll probably have another episode with one of my staff members, or a local realtor or lender, or a real estate individual here in the near future. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Everybody have a great day. This is the TC Title Guy podcast with Alex Eicher here at the Closing Room B, Taylor Group Title and Escrow Studios.